Time. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. If you don't mind, I am going to share the screen and we are recording and we'll go from there. Okay. Well, my name is Jessica Rinaldi. I am the Director of Mortgage Operations for Vanna Lending and Blue Pebble Loans. I have been in the mortgage industry for on and off for roughly 20 years. Also, simultaneously, I have been in the health and wellness space also. My actual education is in athletic training, education, and nutrition. So I have worked in both spaces over the course of the last 20, 25 years. And what I have found is that a lot of the practices go hand in hand. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is how our body and business can thrive together, how these habits can create more closings for you, whether you're in the mortgage space, real estate space, or really any kind of sales space, really. So let's get started. We can ask questions at the end. I would like this to be somewhat interactive. But I also want to be respectful of everybody's times, but let's go ahead and get into it. The habits that build strong bodies also build strong businesses. So one of the things that when I was in the health and wellness space, I did cognitive behavioral therapy for weight loss. And what that really is building habits. There's a reason why most fitness and nutrition programs are 6 weeks or built in 6-week increments. And the reason for that is it takes 21 days to get rid of a habit, to break a habit, and another 21 days to build a habit. So that's a total of 6 weeks, right? So that's typically why programming in the health and wellness space goes in those 6-week increments. And it's because those habits are what build the longevity of your success, right? So if you're wanting to get healthier for some kind of health issue and you're going to be on a nutrition program, you're going to take that 6 weeks in order to build the proper habits that are going to get you to the long-term goal. Same thing with anything that is a physical goal that you may have: weight loss, muscle gain, lowering your cholesterol. Any of that is going to take that amount of time to break old habits and to build new ones. But that also goes hand in hand with what you're doing for your business. So if you've ever noticed that the habits that you build for your body are the same kind of habits that you build for your business, in terms of, mainly, if I'm going to be honest with you, it's consistency. You can have one habit every single day, and that one habit is going to create the trajectory for your success, whether it be making your bed, having water before you go to bed at night, working out. And one habit could make or break your success, but it's how you do it. It's the consistency at which you perform, right? Now, is every single thing going to be the same that you do for your body, your business? No, absolutely not. But what we're talking about when we talk about habits, it's the discipline of performing it on a consistent basis. That's what's going to create the success, right? Let's talk about that. What you practice outside of work shapes how you perform inside of it. Again, it goes back to discipline. We all have it within ourselves. A lot of times we choose not to do the things that we should be doing, whether it be in the workplace or outside of the workplace. It is not always fun to make our client calls, right? It's not always fun to cold call. It's not always fun to do weekly reports or quarterly reports or whatever it may be. But we have to do them, right? It is something that we must do to create success in the end. So it's the same thing when we're talking about our bodies, right? When we talk about what we do every day, is it fun? Maybe for some people. I can say for myself, I hate running. I absolutely cannot stand it. My knees hate running too. But sometimes it is important that we get out there, we move our bodies a specific way, challenge ourselves a specific way. I am not going to be out there sprinting or running a marathon, but I will do a little jog because it's good for my body. It's good for my lungs. It's good for my cardiovascular system. So these things aren't always what we want to do, but they're things that we have to do and we have to stay consistent with, right? Same when I'm talking about my own personal, there are things at work that I cold calling. Everybody that works with me knows the cold calling. I cannot stand it. I don't like to talk to someone that I don't know. But here I am. I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to do it because it is what the job requires. And I know in the end, one day someone's going to pick up the phone and say, oh my gosh, thank you for calling me today. And that's going to make all the difference, right? And so those things are just things that we have to do, and we have to do them on a consistent basis. Just the same thing with the running, with the sit-ups that we have to do that hurt. And so those things combined together, it's not the activity. It's the discipline in which we perform it, showing up, doing it on a regular basis, even though we don't want to do it. I know we hear that all the time, and there's a million memes on Instagram and Facebook that talk about that every single day that we pass by and just meh, meh, meh. We're not paying attention. But really, those are the things that matter. It's showing up every day and doing the things that we don't necessarily want to do that are going to make or break our success in the end. Let's get a little deeper into this. What we do, how we do it, all are going to have an impact on our business and our professional life. It comes down to really, when I thought about it, 4 pillars that create harmony between our body and health and business. The first, to me, is the most important. What we fuel our body with, our nutrition and our nourishment, how we feed our body, I feel is the most important, at least to me. Everybody can take what they want from this, but I feel like what we put inside of our body is going to have the most impact on how we perform. Nutrition, obviously that's something that means something to me. So what I eat on a regular basis is going to affect my performance. If I don't have balanced meals with all of my macronutrients and my micronutrients, I'm going to feel depleted. And therefore, I cannot show up for you guys every day and giving my absolute best. There is a reason why when you're in an airplane, they say the oxygen mask goes on you first before someone else, is because if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of other people, which means we cannot do the best we can for our clients, our referral partners, our coworkers, right? So how we feed our body is how we're going to show up for people the next day or that day. I know if I have too much wine the night before, I'm not going to be at my best. So there are, and every once in a while, you've got to indulge a little bit, but we have to think about how we want to show up and what kind of an impact we want to have on the people that matter to us in our professional life and our personal life. And we cannot be our best if we're not performing our best, which means we have to fuel with the best. This also doesn't just mean your body. I'm talking about your mind and your soul too, right? So what we feed our body, our mind with, what we watch on TV, what we read in books, social media, also all have an impact on how we perform. I know someone like me, I have a little bit of anxiety. And so I know if I watch something at night that is, okay, let's just be honest, I'm a little bit afraid of the dark, and I can't watch horror movies, that I won't sleep at all, I'm not going to perform the next day. So why would I do that? In my head, I sleep the best if I have something positive, if I read something positive, if I have You know, if I fuel my mind with things that are going to make me happy and spiritually at ease, then I will sleep better. Therefore, I can perform better. And I can talk all day on on nutrition and how we feed our mind and body and everything, but I'll leave it at that. It's something to think about. I think we all can use a little bit more of positivity that will help us perform better in all aspects of life. Next one I feel is very important is movement. Movement creates momentum, and whether and I'm not talking about like the regular exercise, the 3 to 4 times a week, 30 minutes to 60 minutes, high intensity, this, that, or the other. There are a million different things out there that you could do to create movement. And what that means is different for everybody. I know for myself, getting into the age that I am now, I cannot perform the way I used to when I was in my 20s and 30s. My movement is different. But the fact is, we have to move. There's that saying, if you don't use it, you lose it. I believe that to be true, whether it is or not. But if you stop moving for a couple weeks, if you take off of your regular routine, you feel a difference, right? And it's supposed to be that way because our bodies are meant, they're built, they're designed. The mechanics of it are all designed to move. We're not supposed to stop. And that's what happens when we take a desk job where we're seated all day. It slows us down. It slows the oxygen down. It slows the blood flow, the synovial fluid that's in our joints. Everything stops. And when that stops, our thought processes stop. It's all connected. And so we want to think about that when we think about how we're performing at our job. And so now you see everybody is on the walking desks and the exercise balls as chairs, and it's because it does help your productivity at work. It helps your brain activity. It helps you feel better. It helps your confidence. It gives you that extra boost of energy that you need to perform better at work. So those are things to think about when you're thinking about how the two, your body and your business, can go hand in hand. Recovery and reflection. Now I'm going to talk on this, and this is something that I had to learn as an adult, because when I was younger in sports, I don't think anybody ever believed in recovery. I don't think that as a young athlete that we were ever told rest was part of the equation, nor was stretching. And now we find that those things are just as important as the actual activity itself, right? And so I do believe this to be true, especially for our work relationships with ourselves, right? What are you taking time to reset? Are you taking time to rest and evaluate where you are, what you're doing, and how can you do better? We do this with our relationships too. If you don't take time to reflect on the things that are happening within the relationship or within the dynamic, then you're never going to grow to the next step. So I think it's important, and I'll give it a little bit of an example. So it just so happened that our CEO and I have had many conversations over the last couple of days, or since last week, on a very particular situation. And what we did was take some time to look at the facts of the situation. Let's look at what exactly happened, the conversations, the communication that was done. Did we do everything that we could to manage the situation? Could we have done better? If we could have done better, what could it have been? What could we do better in the future? Are there things that we can learn from this? And absolutely, right? And sometimes it takes you just taking a step back and looking at the broader picture and saying, okay, this is what we need to do. But you have to take the step back. You have to take the opportunity to rest in that moment, and to reflect on the totality of the situation, right? With your body, it's the same way. If you have a weekend or Saturday or Sunday where you don't do any physical activity, your body needs that. You need to rest. Your body needs sleep every night. You need to take a step back and let your body recover. Muscles regenerate themselves when they're at rest. And so all of that is very important to both sides of body and business, and obviously our personal lives as well. So I just want to encourage everybody. I don't think that in today's business world, especially in sales, especially in I'm assuming that everybody on this call is in either real estate or mortgage, or some kind of sales. And when we're in a competitive market like that, it is so fast, it's so quick, and there's things changing all the time. And we don't take enough time to actually take a step back and reevaluate. Sometimes we just go, and we're not looking at what is working, what is not, how we can make things better, how we can be more efficient, how we can show up better for ourselves and our clients. And we do need to take that time. So I encourage everybody to take a minute, or maybe after this presentation, and kind of look at what you're doing in your personal, what you're doing in your business, and what it looks like for you to really take that moment of rest. And in also doing so, this is a good time to talk a little bit about your work-life balance, right? I know for myself, that's something I have to constantly remind myself to take a step back from. Is I could very easily put in 60, 65, 70 hours a week just because that my mind is going. And if my mind is going, I might as well put the work in. But we have to take a step back. We have to put time into other things so that we can keep showing up, like I keep saying. I know this is going to be very monotonous because these things are just all back to habit, all back to discipline, just in very different ways, in different levels of your life. Okay, the last pillar that we're going to talk about right now, which is great that we're on this call together, is community and collaboration. I know for myself that when in my fitness life, in my fitness career, or wellness career, I had to surround myself with people who were supportive of what I was doing, who could positively impact what I was doing, whether it be workout partners, whether it be someone who would go to lunch with me at a specific place so I could eat healthy, showing up to events and whatnot where there were people not drinking so that I could, not have to partake, or, different things like that. So surrounding yourself with people who support your goal and who are going to be in your corner, or maybe show you something, educate you on something that you could do better. For business, once I started in mortgage, I quickly realized that there were people I wanted to be around or gravitated towards that had a huge impact on my thought process in this business, right? One of the biggest reasons that I chose Vanna Lending or Blue Pebble Group to join with was because of that. Because I found that the people that I was collaborating with or aligning myself with believed in the same morals, values, had the same vision that I had for people in general. The care that I have for people, they shared and supported. And I felt like that was just such a big part of the equation that I had missed in years prior, is just being surrounded by such a positive force of people, right? That's really the only way that we're going to grow to the next level, is if we have the support and encouragement of our partners, right? And we align ourselves with people that we gravitate towards, or that we want to be around based on how they think and how they present themselves and what we can learn from them. And so it's not just in our personal life, but our professional life too. And there's that saying also, is that you're only as good as the people that you hang out with. And I know that most of us as adults have gone through phases of our lives where we've had to separate ourselves from people who didn't fit the lifestyle anymore, who weren't on the same path. We still love them, we still care for them, still be in our lives, but at the same time, if we want to grow, we have to surround ourselves with people that also want to grow and share that same enthusiasm towards stretching in life and being a part of something bigger. And so if that's something I know for myself, being a part of Vanna and Blue Pebble, that has given me more freedom to grow professionally and personally. And that's made a lot of difference in the support I can give to our clients. And so also, if you'd like to talk about that at the end of this, I am available. And you guys, we are always hiring. So it'd be nice to have some of you all on board who aren't already with us. All right. Now, any training program, like I said from the beginning, is going to have a step-by-step process. We talked about 6 weeks, right? This is a map to your goal. Now, again, it all goes back to our habits and our disciplines. In fitness, it's easy because it's mapped out as you do X amount of exercises, you do reps, sets. It's all very meticulously calculated for you, right? Well, in business, it is too. We just have to see it as such, right? Like I said, Jared talked about some of the habits that he thinks are important last week in his webinar. And I'm sure as we present more of these webinars in the future, some of our partners will speak on other ones that they feel are just as important. I feel like when we go into a situation that we have a mentor or a coach, or we're being onboarded to a company, there is always a roadmap that is going to get you to your goal. The important part about that roadmap isn't what it is. It's not the steps. Again, it goes back to the consistency of you doing the things every single day. And the same thing with fitness. If you have a goal, to get to the goal, you have to do the steps. In my wellness career, I also was a competitor. And so when I competed, we had 12 to 16 weeks to get ready for a competition. The goal is to win the competition, right? So if the goal is to win, then I have to show up every single day to do the work to the best of my ability. We can't hide anything. We can't lie about it. We can't cheat, because at the end of the day, if you're going in competition with other people, you don't know what the other people are doing. And that's what we're doing every day in business, especially in sales and especially in this market. We are going in competition every single day by ourselves. We may have a team behind us, and we may have, I know Vanna and Blue Pebble are behind me every single day, but I am out there in competition with somebody else every single day. I don't know what they're doing. I know what I'm doing. And I'm going to show up the best I can for my clients, for my people every single day, doing the steps that are required to get me there. Just like I had to do when I was in fitness. You show up every day. You have to be honest with yourself. Are you doing the things? Because at the end of the day, you're either going to win or you're going to lose. And we have to show up and answer to ourselves in this business, right? Are we doing the things? And it's going to show in our commissions, right? If you wonder why we're not making what we want to make, or we're down in our sales or revenue, you have to ask ourselves, are we doing the steps? Are we doing the things that are required of us every day? Are we showing up for ourselves 100%? And I guarantee if there's a lag in your production, There is a lag in what steps you're taking to get there. And we just have to take that step back, reflect, and reevaluate, like we said before, and come up with a game plan to get us there. The map is already written. It's just how we do it, how the steps that we take to get there. Okay. Again, I could talk on this all day. It's all, we know what the goal is in business, right? We're here to make a career. We're here to provide for our families. There is a route to get there. There's a map, there's a game plan, there's a step-by-step process. And it's all the same with most sales-driven jobs, right? You make the calls, you show up for the people, you do your follow-ups, you go find new referral sources, whether it be, depending on what side of the business that you're on, you network, you make connections with people, you look into your sphere. All of those things are necessary to get to the end goal. With health and fitness, it's if your goal is to lose 10 pounds, here is what you need to do to get there. If your goal is to lower your cholesterol or to manage your diabetes, then this is what you have to do to get there, right? And for some reason, it always is astonishing to me that when people come to a professional to game plan on their health and wellness, they could be very successful in business, but not know how to apply it to their body or their personal. And the same goes true for the other side. There can be so many people are so good with managing what goes in their body with their health routine or their fitness routine, but their business is not showing the same results. So if we just take those same principles, those same disciplines, the same habits that we have for our personal and professional, and we slap those together and just maintain that same momentum, that same step-by-step progress towards that end goal, we're going to get there. We just need to do it. That's the hard part, right? Now, again, in this industry, especially the last couple of years, there has been some ebbs and flows. There's been some volatility. There has been some reevaluation of, I know a lot of people who have stepped out of the business, stepped back in, stepped out on many sides of the platform, right? Real estate, mortgage, title, all of it. It becomes very stressful at some points. And a lot of times with that stress, we ask ourselves, why do I do this? This is crazy. It's hard on us. It's hard on the body. It's hard on the mind. It's hard on our business. The one thing that will always remain the same about this industry is that it works that way. And we need to know that there's no sense in stressing out about the inevitable. The real estate market will continue to have ebbs and flows because that's just it. We have to keep our energy and our positivity and everything or keep our positivity in general so that we can continue to show up for our clients. I know that's something I struggle with every day. I take things personally, and I will have a lot of anxiety over things that go on with the clients and with our files. And so I have to manage that. I have to put my energy into or protect my energy and only put the energy that I need to out there. So that's something I do struggle with on a regular basis. And I know a lot of other people in the industry do too, but it is something that through the steps, right, through our habits and everything, it is easy to manage. We should not have time to waste energy on things that aren't going to produce for us, right? Just like in our personal lives, we don't have time to put energy into things that are not giving back to us. So we have to remember that in our business too, is that, and I like this slide because it says protect it like it's commission, because we know how we all feel about our commissions, right? We know that that's something, I mean, that makes the whole thing work, right? So the same thing with your energy. We have to protect that and stress when you need to stress, but don't take it too seriously, because this industry is ever changing and it will continue to be ever changing. And there's nothing that we can do about that. To be successful in this industry, we follow the roadmap that's going to get us there, but we also need to be, we need to be adaptable, and we need to manage our expectations in that realm, to make sure that we're not stressing too much about things that we cannot control, because we cannot control the market, and it is what it is. But what we can do is manage how we respond to it and what we do for our clients within that market as well. So listen, guys, I talked a lot about my previous life in health and fitness, and I can 100% say that had I not had the experiences that I have with health and wellness, with coaching other people, with watching other people have major transformations as far as their personal life and their physical, I don't think that I would be as prepared for this business. And I think that had I not been a competitor and been able to relate the things that are required for this job now in mortgage and with my company, with Vanna and Blue Pebble, the similarities are so real to me in waking up and doing what I need to do every day, the disciplines of it. I would not have if I had not had my experience in wellness. And I'm thankful for that. Am I a coach anymore? No. But what I do know is that it made such an impact that those disciplines stay with me. And that's the driving force of my everyday activities. And being in this market, in this industry, I feel we have to have that. That's part of that self-motivation. No one is going to tell you that you need to make 10 realtor calls today. No one is going to tell you that you need to reach out to these cold leads from 2023 and just see if something pops, right? No one is going to tell you that you have to do these things. It's you. You wake up every morning and you decide whether or not you're going to do the activities that are going to make you successful. And if you ask some of the top performers in either of our industries, mortgage, real estate, they will tell you the same thing. It is the everyday things that they do that gets them the success. It is not them golfing on a Friday. It is not the networking event that they went to that they met the biggest client that they have, maybe. But it is the everyday, the small, monotonous things that don't necessarily feel like they're working, but they are. And we have to remember that and keep that discipline through all the hard times, through the good times. We can't let our foot off the gas, right? And so that's really the correlation between your body and your business. More than anything, it's the discipline in which we perform those daily habits every day. That's really all it boils down to. There's many different ways that we can set that up, and many different ways that that's going to come out in our life, in our business, in our personal life, within our body. But it is the discipline to carry out those habits on a regular basis and be consistent. That is all it is. Again, I didn't want to take up too much of your all's time today. I'm going to open this up for interactive questions if you guys have any. But that's pretty much it. And I hope that this was informative to someone. And I do encourage you to take a look at the habits that you're doing every day in your business and your professional life. I mean, your personal life, and see what could I do differently? What have I stopped doing that I should be doing? And what is the next step in my roadmap to get me to where I want to be? Okay, do we have any questions? Yes, Jared.
I don't know. Lower man. There we go. Awesome. Thank you. 6 weeks sounds like a really long time. So what are your tips and tricks to kind of get started knowing that, if you're just thinking about doing the entire thing at once, it's going to be really hard?
Well, if you think about 6 weeks is designed for 3 weeks of habit breaking and 3 weeks of habit forming. So you're going to do the process, right? You're going to do the things necessary. It may only take 3 weeks for you to start seeing some progress, but it's the consistency at which you do it, right? And so sometimes it really just boils down to, sometimes you got to suck it up and just wait for the progress to come, because it's not going to be immediate.
Sweet.
Sorry if that's not something everybody wants to hear. I wish I had a better answer for you, but
I'm working on my discipline, Jessica. I guess that's just what you're telling me to do anyway. So I guess I need to do that.
It's like, right? We don't want to do sit-ups 3 times a week, but if that's what's going to get us abs, I mean, you're not going to show up with abs after 3 workouts, right?
Well, abs are made in the kitchen, not the gym.
It's true. It's very true, which is a whole other question or a whole other topic there, right? Nutrition, right? You may see more success after 3 weeks of eating right to get abs than the workouts, but it's still got to be consistent, which is the whole point. Yes, Freddie.
Jessica, can you describe your typical morning routine? And how do you stay accountable? Do you have an accountability partner? Do you have another coach or how do you find your community that keeps you on track with doing the hard things?
So, all right. So I'll give you an example of my morning routine. And I've been doing my particular morning routine for many years now. I would say about 15 years. I make my bed every morning without fail. I will make my bed. Once I get up, I make my bed. I take the supplements that I'm supposed to take, and then have my coffee, right? My coffee is my time. I take 30 minutes and I reflect on what I need to do that day. And then I get a workout in, whether it's yoga, strength training, some kind of movement. I've taken a step back, and I usually only do 30, 45 minutes of some kind of movement. I don't try to do anything strenuous, but I do have to get my body and my mind moving. And I start my day every day by 8 a.m. as far as work is concerned. Now, as far as accountability and motivation and everything, when the person I am most accountable to is our CEO. And I know that if I don't do the things that I'm supposed to do, I fail all of my company. So that's something that keeps me motivated and keeps me moving, is that the responsibility that I feel towards my coworkers is something that motivates me to keep moving in a very, very specific, special way. Is that if I don't, then I fail all of you. And that's something that's important to me, is that I don't want to fail you. And so it's the same thing with my daughter, is if I don't show up my best every day, which we don't, not every day. We sometimes have bad days, right? Everybody does. But if we don't show up 100%, then I'm letting someone down. And that's something that fuels me on a, like that's more than anything. And that's something that when I was competing back in the day, the same thing. I've got to show up my best because I have someone looking up to me. And that's I don't want to fail because of that. I don't want to fail you guys. You got to find your why. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Thank you.
Anything else?
I think it was really helpful to you, the old-fashioned 21 days to create a habit, but the 6 weeks makes sense of, if you have bad habits, you want to, substitute them with a good habit. So it kind of makes sense, like, hey, it's going to take you 6 weeks to break your old habits and create new habits. Also, then what made sense to me when you're saying that, hey, take a moment to reflect and evaluate, what are you doing right? And then what were you doing right that you're not doing anymore? So that's really helpful, because you're like, okay, let me look back when I was like really in flow, if you will. What were my habits and what was I doing, both personal and professional? So that's really helpful.
I think that as human beings in general, and in all aspects of life, right, we can get complacent, and we can not on purpose, not with an ego that we think we're better. It's just we can get bored, we can get complacent, and we don't mean to stop doing the things that we're working. It's just something that happens. And that's why the reflection is important, and why we have to take that time and create space for change. And it works that way, like I said, in personal, professional, with your body, with your nutrition, all of it. It's that same thing that you have to do, right? And someone that can be kicking butt in business, maybe having some health issues that they need to control too. And so it's just a matter of taking a different perspective on it, right? And sometimes the reflection is what we need to do that.
No, you're kind of quiet.
Oh, is he talking?
No, he's just quiet. He's just being quiet. Typically, he says something.
Well, guys, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Let me know if you guys want me to do a follow-up to this. This was we have this series of webinars that we're going to be doing. I could talk on this stuff all day. I really do think that, like I said, the impact that having these healthy habits has had on my career, and I think is just, I wouldn't have been able to start in this business later in life if I hadn't had those disciplines, right? I feel like being in an industry where you have to be self-motivated, I think those things go hand in hand. And I think that we could all benefit from refreshers here and there, reminders of those things. So let me know what you think of the presentation, and let me know if you want me to do a follow-up. I can always do that, or shoot me a message if you have any questions specifically towards your situation. Yeah, that's all I got, guys. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.